Yo, peace was good. This is part 2 of my response to Mr. Moodz616, the hip hop tag. Let's get on with the next question. I left off where it said overrated artists and group, and I mentioned that if you haven't peeped that, check the last video I did. Favorite album to bump in your ride. Honestly, I don't really carry my CDs in the car anymore. I used to do that back in the day, kind of stopped doing that. So I have an iPod, and I usually have my iPod in the shuffle. But if I had to choose an album, it would have to be this: Royal Flush's Ghetto Millionaire. Fucking dope album right here. Very underrated in my opinion. Royal Flush, he used to roll with Mike Geronimo. Somewhat an affiliate with Murder Inc., but not really, if that makes sense. I mean, he used to roll with them, but he wasn't really part of them like that. He was just probably like an affiliate only because he used to roll with them, but not like that. But it was only because of Mike Geronimo, really. That was Mike Geronimo's man. But anyways, this album is fucking sick. I mean, Iced Out Medallions, Only a Week Productions, Worldwide, Family Problems, Idiotic Shine. I mean, this can't help it. I mean, this album right here, in my opinion, is Queen's answer to Only Built for Cuban Links. I know y'all probably think I'm bugging with that, but they have similarities and things like that. Except for the whole the 5% stuff that Raekwon did. Spit the science and stuff like that he did from time to time on the album, but just like the pimp rap, the talk rap, the drum talks, and the street shit, definitely very similar and shit like that. But this album is so Queens. It's like when you pop it in, you feel like you're back in Queens, man. It just has that overall Queens feel to it. And not only that, the production on this album is fucking sick. It definitely has that late 70s, early 80s. I would say that late 70s to mid 80s New York vibe to it with a 90s sound, if that makes sense. Just based on the production, the samples that you use. I mean, you can't go wrong with this album, man. Ghetto Millionaire by Royal Flush, highly recommended. Very dope album. I'll definitely expect a review on that sometime. Alright, so next question. First album you ever bought? I probably mentioned this before, but it was actually Eminem's Marshall Mathers LP, which was his third album. Because if you count Infinite, which was his first album, the Slim Shady LP was his second album, then Marshall Mathers. But if you want to be, on a, I guess, more of the, major label wise, then Marshall Mathers would be his second album. But that was my first album that I ever bought with my own money and stuff like that. But it's not an album that I can listen to anymore, because I've listened to it recently and it just hasn't aged very well. It's very immature. It was funny when it first came out, but some of the stuff is just too childish for me. I don't know, dude. The whole Kim song, it's just oh, come on, man. It's yeah, it is what it is. But let me get my swig of water. Oops. Sorry about that. Alright, next question. A duo or supergroup you would love to see be formed and drop an album? Yeah. Alright, I'm sorry about that. This is people just not texting me, but responding to my first video that I posted. Believe it or not, I would have loved. Let me turn it down. A supergroup that I would have loved to see back in the day was Mobb Deep and Onyx, man. Oh my god, especially around 97, 98. Oh my god, could you imagine an album like that? Havoc on the beats, Federal Star on some of the beats too. I mean, come on, man. I mean, what made me think of that was they made a song back in around 97, 98, and it was a song called QB Meets Southside. Check that shit out. It's on YouTube. You check that joint out. fucking dope, man. I mean, if they made more songs like that, I mean, it would have been fucking dope. I mean, Sticky Fingers sounds so dope over, you know, having beats and shit like that. So, but you know, for them do an album like that now, I don't know, man. Like, I've kind of noticed like a trend now where like a lot of artists from the '90s are collaborating. You know, for example, like you know, like KRS-One and Marley Marl doing an album called Hip Hop Lives that dropped in '07. That was a good album, but I feel like it was a little bit too late for that. That's something he should have done back in the '90s. You know, like Raekwon, you know, Bumpy Knuckles and Tretch. I think they're supposed to drop an album together, like a supergroup. But to me, a little bit too late for that. You know what I mean? Something they should have done in the '90s. But I could understand like the labels to be wouldn't permit that or some shit like that. You know how it is. Another one I would have loved to see was you know, Ice Cube over DJ Muggs. With DJ Muggs, I mean, especially DJ Muggs back in the early '90s and mid '90s. Oh my god, you know, you got some of that on the Predator album, but could you imagine a whole album around 92, 93, 94? Oh my god. Yeah, can you imagine that? Like, that's, whew, that would have been fucking dope. Favorite female MC? I don't really have one, man, to be honest with you. But if I had to choose, I would have to say Bahamadia, just on the strength of her first album, Collage. Oh my god, that album is fucking sick. You know, I always name her as like the female version of Guru. You know what I mean? She just has that Guru vibe to her. You know what I mean? Like the monotone voice and the monotone delivery, the same style of production and stuff like that. I mean, that's another album I need to get my hands on, but it's kind of hard to find. Excuse me, I'm coming with a cold and shit like that. Favorite hip hop album of all time? I'm not gonna say Hell on Earth because I mentioned that too much, but something a little bit different. I'm gonna say Onyx's second album, All We Got Is Us. Fucking love that album. I just love how dark that album is. I love the fact that they did the production themselves. Realistically, you know, Federal Star was doing the production. Sticky Fingers, I heard, was doing some stuff too. He probably like added some elements and things like that. And around that time, they were actually fucking with Aguilar when he went by Adolf, and like his beats at that time were really dark. He did some joints on that album. He did Punk Motherfuckers, which was a skit, but it's an actual full-length version of that song online. He did the production for the song Better Off Dead. Did the beats for that. And I just like the dark vibe of that album. It's just like the paranoid vibe of that album. I just like the fact that, you know, they were talking about the Illuminati and things like that before it got trendy and shit. You know, but people, they were ahead of their time on the album, and I feel like the album didn't really get the shine that it deserved. You know what I mean? Just because they weren't really rolling with you know, Jam Master Jay and shit like that. So, but yeah, fucking dope album. Favorite MC battle? Wow, that's a good one, man. I would have to say Cormega versus Nas. I thought that was a very dope battle. You know, Cormega when he dropped Fuck Nas and Nature. I thought that was pretty dope. And then, you know, Nas responded back to it, Destroy, Rebuild, you know, stuff like that. What else? You know, and then, you know, Noriega versus Tragedy Gaddafi. You know, Tragedy came out with the song Nori Faker. You know, Tragedy came out with a song called Nori Faker. Then I forgot what song Noriega responded back. And then also Tragedy came out with a song called Blood Type, which was actually featured on his All Against All Odds album. That was pretty dope, but they patched it up, thank God. So I thought it was pretty cool. But yeah, those were my favorite. Shit, got my nose. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, so that was like those were like my favorite MC beefs and shit, like battles and stuff like that. Underrated album. Wow, that's a good question. Ooh, yeah, that's underrated album. I would say the song we play in the background, Boxcar Sessions by Safir. I mean, Saphir, part of the Hobo Junction, known as Cousin Harold. In the Medicine Society, got shot up later on early in the beginning of the movie. I mean, just hear in the background what you hear back right now. I mean, jazzy, dope. You know, his flow is like water. It's like it just flows so nicely, man. It's just so dope over some dope jazzy beats, man. Fucking dope shit right there. Underrated album, overrated album. Oh my god, there's so much I can say. But one in particular that's on my mind right now is Tupac's All Eyes on Me. Very overrated in my opinion. You know, I feel like that album was rushed. You know, people just jumped the gun on that album. You know, and it was 2 discs too long in my opinion. I think it should have just been 1 disc. You know, I just didn't like the whole. It felt too commercial for my taste. You know, I mean, it had some decent songs. It had like Trading War Stories, which was cool. Got My Mind Made Up, which was cool. But it just, I don't know, man. It just didn't really. It's not an album that I can listen to all the time. Like, you know, I can't stand the song. You know, ambitious as a writer. I'm fucking tired of that song. I hear that song too many fucking times. What's another song I can't stand? California Love, can't stand that song. I'm sorry for my West Coast heads. I'm sorry. I know he's repping the West Coast and all that, but that song is fucking annoying. I can't stand that song. You know, Life After Death by Biggie, can't stand that album. You know, everybody in their fucking dog has that album. Operation Doomsday, Mad Villainy, yeah, just can't stand those albums. Favorite hip hop movie or doc? Wow. I would have to say Juice. And the reason why I bring that up is because let's see what's something I love. With Juice is because I like the fact that, you know, it's 4 guys, you know, it's a crew, you know what I mean? 4 dudes and shit like that, you know, they're trying to figure out their lives and shit like that, you know, just being teenagers in New York, but they live and breathe hip hop, you know what I mean? Like, shit. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. You know, Q, he's an up and coming DJ. You know, there's a scene where they go into the record store. He's trying to hide the girl, and then they stealing the records and shit like that. That's just so fucking ill. This whole vibe of that movie is just so hip hop. So if I had to choose, I would have to say Juice. Favorite soundtrack, New Jersey Drive, bar none. I mean, I just love the mixture of like R&B and hip hop and shit like that. Mostly hip hop, obviously, and just the overall vibe of that soundtrack, man. You know, you got joints like Heads Ain't Ready by Bootcat Click, Funky Piano by the E Brothers, recipes Rock Rated, who made the beat. Burn Rubber by Laws of the Underground. Oh my god, one of Marley Marl's illest beats. Benz and Beamers by Outkast. Oh my fucking god, like I could go on and on. Can't You See with Total and Biggie. Check It Out by Heavy D. I mean, oh my god, that whole album, that whole soundtrack is dope. Guilty pleasure albums, don't really have one. I do, but it's not hip hop. And if it was a guilty pleasure, it would have been like an Eminem or like, you know, Marshall Mathers or, you know, ICP's first 4 albums. But those are albums I don't really listen to anymore, so hopefully that answers your question. And favorite hip hop magazine, I would have to say Scratch Magazine. You know, I kind of caught on to it too late, but you know, Scratch Magazine, what I liked about it is that it focused more on producers and DJs. You know, because the producers, they actually they interview the producers. They talk about what they started with, what equipment they use and what they use on back in the day, what they started out with. And unfortunately, they don't make that. They discontinued that magazine, which fucking sucks. But that's it, folks. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys think. Keep it respectful. If you agree, if you disagree, which I know I'm gonna get a lot of that, but keep it respectful. The dislikes, hey, it is what it is. I can't really help that. But that's it, folks. Be easy, stay positive, peace and prosperity. Peace.